Hello class, in 1.7 we're going to deal with decimals. And some of the first are going to be just like we did in the very first section where you have to write the number out as words. So let's say we have negative 52.193. So the way we have to write this is we're going to write negative and then 52, just like we did before. Now the next part is where it's going to be a little bit different. What we have to do is, instead of saying just 0.193 like we would normally, we have to count how many digits there are and then say it as the whole number. So here we have 193. So that's basically 193. And here's where we're going to put the and. Whenever we have the decimal point here, we're going to have to write the word and we're going to write 193. And now we have to see what place it goes to. So the places are the tenths, T-E-N-T-H-S, hundredths, so hundred, T-H-S, thousandths, thousand, T-H-S. The next would be 10,000ths, 100,000ths, and so on. So we have to just see what the last digit is, and it's in the thousandths spot, so that's what we have to put. So here we're going to put negative 52 and 193 thousandths. Next, it's going to be some where we're rounding. So let's say we have 8.991 and we have to round to 2 decimal places. When it says round to 2 decimal places or 3 decimal places or anything, that means that you're going to round to that many digits past the decimal point. So we're going to see here 2 is the 9, one right after that is just a 1, so our answer is going to be 8.99. If it had said round to the nearest hundredth, it would be the same thing. So now let's say we have 4.988 and we have to round to the nearest tenth or 1 decimal place. So we're going to look at the 10th digit, which is a 9. The number right past that is an 8, so that means we need to round up. And so when we do that, this 9 becomes a 10, so this becomes a 5. So we're going to need to put 5.0. We do not need to put anything after that. Remember in the other section, we did have to put all the zeros at the end, and that's because they were a placeholder. Here, any zero after a decimal spot or point doesn't change its value, so we don't need to put them. If you want to, you can. Okay, so just as far as the places go, if we have 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is the 10th, the 100th, the 1000th, the 10,000th, the 100,000th, the 6th one over, which is a 6, is the millionth. I do not think that you're going to get any that go all the way to the millionth. There might be some questions. All your homework gets randomized, so you're going to get different questions than any of the other students, but I don't think it's ever going to go down this far. Okay, so next we're going to add and subtract decimals. So let's say we have 10.821 plus 4.22. The easiest way to do these is to line them up vertically with the decimal points lined up. So 10.821 plus 4.22. Notice that the decimal points are what's lined up, and that's what's important. So now we just add like it's a normal number, and the decimal will stay exactly where it is. So this will be a 1, a 4, 10, 5, 1. So our answer here would be 15.041. Okay, so subtracting is going to be a little bit different. Let's say we have 5.263 minus 10.1. Here what we have to do is put the number that has the highest or the higher absolute value first. So that's the 10.1 because the 10 is bigger than a 5. So we're going to put 10.1 in the bottom. We're going to have 5.263. And here notice that the negative is with the 10. So we're going to put negative 10. And also, since we have more digits in the bottom one here than the top, we need to put 2 zeros here. Again, remember, like I said earlier, these zeros don't change the value any, but we need them here in order to hold the place. So now, since our negative is bigger, our answer is going to be bigger, or our answer is going to be negative, and we're just going to subtract like it was a normal number. So 10 minus 3 is 7, 9 minus 6 is 3, 10 minus 2 is 8. This is where we'll put our decimal. And 9 minus 5 is 4. So our answer here would be negative 4.837. We're always, again, going to put the bigger absolute value first, and then we're going to keep the sign of whatever that one is as far as our answer goes. Now let's say that we're multiplying. Say we have 4.2 times 8.27. Again, let's do it vertically, and I'm going to put the 4.2 second, so 8.27 and 4.2. Here, I don't have to line up the decimal numbers. I'm going to line up so that the last digit is here. Now I'm going to multiply as if there were no decimals there at all. Just pretend they're not there for a while. So 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 4, or 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and 2 times 8 is 16. Then I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 1 is 33. I'm going to add the numbers. 4, that's 13. 6 makes a 7. 4, 3. So I have 3, 4, 7, 3, 4. Now what I do is go back to the original numbers and count all of the numbers, or all the digits that are past the decimal. So I have 1, 2, 3 digits past the decimal. So I'm going to have 3 digits past the decimal here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And the answer here, 34.734. A way that we can tell that that is probably going to be right, as long as we did all our calculations right, is if we look at the whole numbers here. 8 times 4 is 32, and both 8.27 and 4.2 are a little bit bigger than 8 and 4, and 8 times 4 is 32, like I said, and 34 is a little bit bigger than 32. So as long as we did all of the basic steps right, then we know that we're in the right direction. Okay, so that's for multiplying. How about dividing? Say we have 15.5 divided by 6.2. The easiest way to do this is to do it as a long division. If you're just using your calculator on all these, you don't need to go through all these steps. But if you're not, change this to be 6.2 into 15.5. So here, we don't want to have any decimals in this, so we're going to move it over one spot. Since we moved that decimal over one spot, we also need to move the decimal over in the other one spot. So now our decimal is here. So now we're going to go 62 will go into 155 2 times. 2 times 62 is 124, and we're going to have a 31 remainder. Since we want to try to figure out what our total answer is here, we're going to add a 0 to the end. So bring this 0 down. 62 will go into 310 5 times, and 5 times 62 is 310. So our answer is 2.5. And does that make sense? Yes, it does, because let's say that we have 15 divided by 6. That's going to be a little bit more than 2, because 2 times 6 is 12. Again, though, you don't need to do all these steps on this or the multiplication if you are just using your calculator, which will be an easier thing to do. So another one, a division where I don't use a calculator. Let's say I have 0.14 divided by 0.007. Okay, so here I'm going to go 0.007 into 0.14. And here I want to move the decimal over 1, 2, 3 spots. So I need to do the same here. 1, 2, 3. So that puts an extra 0 there. 7 will go into 14 2 times. 2 times 7 is 14. 0 remainder. 7 will go into 0 times. So our answer here would be 20. And that is it for 1.7.